What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another edition of Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for Bucs Nation and Go Bucs fan, it's your time. It's Fan Appreciation Friday, so I'll read some fan comments. Remember, like and subscribe because, as always, fans are the lifeblood of this show. So let's get into it. It's been posed this week a question: could the Bucs use the franchise tag, as the tag opened up on Tuesday and goes from then to March 3rd at 4 o'clock for every NFL team? Now, it's interesting to note, because this was brought up because the Mike Evans situation, that in 33 seasons, the Bucs have used it 8 times. Since 2020, they've used it 4 out of those 8 to a big-time success rate. The Bucs used a tag on outside linebacker Shaq Barrett in 2020 after he led the NFL with a franchise record of 19.5 sacks in 2019. Barrett played under the tag, then signed a multi-year contract to remain with the Buccaneers in 2021, according to Buccaneers.com. They also did this with Chris Godwin, who got the tag in both 2021 and 2022. He signed the tag shortly after receiving it in 2021, but he and the team reached agreement on a long-term deal a week after the tag was applied again in 2022. In 2024, Tampa Bay and All-Pro safety Antoine Winfield Jr. were able to work out a new 4-year deal. In May, a little over 2 months after the franchise tag gave the two sides more time to negotiate without Winfield hitting the open market. So why not do this with Mike Evans? Well, here's the problem. First and foremost, if you do tag Mike Evans, it's going to be $28 million. You're now paying 2 wide receivers over $20 million. With that being said, also, it's about a respect factor. I know it's about business, but Evans has a respect for Jason Light. Light has a respect for Evans. If they can't work out a deal, and I think, again, that the Bucs and the organization believe they can work out a deal with Mike Evans, they still want to give him the opportunity, if they can't, to test free agency because they have so much loyalty to him. So is there a possibility the Bucs do that? Maybe, and the reason why you do it is for a placeholder to work out possibly a deal, but it's unlikely at this point. Now, the Bucs have 17 players who are set to become unrestricted free agents if they're not re-signed prior to the beginning of the new year on March 11th. And the list includes, once again, Evans, Levante David, Jamel Dean, Rashad White. Any of those players, Bucs fans, would you tag? Let's talk about the history of the tag, as it became relevant in 1993, as the first one that was used was Paul Gruber. Now, why is that interesting? Because not only is he one of the greatest Buccaneers of all time in the Ring of Honor, but he was also one of my first interactions as a Bucs fan, because in 7th grade, I used to wear this orange creamsicle starter jacket. Got it burned by a non-fan of the Bucs. What are kids thinking back then? They burned a little hole in my jacket. I continued to wear it, and to immortalize it, I got it signed by Paul Gruber. That is a true story here on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. Other tag opportunities that happened in the past: 1999, Chidi Ahanotu; 2009, wide receiver Antonio Bryant; and in 2012, Connor Barth. More times than not, the deals get done. Once again, they are placeholders, but in this case, $28 million is a lot of money to invest, even in one of the greatest of all time, possibly in Mike Evans. Now, let's move on here to speculation about Evans as it continues to heat up. Whether you're trying to decide if he's going to stay in Tampa Bay, which I know a lot of Bucs fans hope he will, and I think he will. But the speculation has been Buffalo, Houston, Kansas City, San Francisco. Well, don't tell James Palmer that, because he said as an NFL insider on Scoop City on Friday's episode, it'll sound crazy here, I think Tampa is the most likely destination. I just think in Tampa they have a vibe there on what they have put together. Remember, Chris Godwin took less money. He was offered a lot more in New England. Just to go back to Tampa, is Mike kind of in the similar vein? This is a winnable division. There you go. And clearly, with the NFC South, you can win it with having 8 to 9 wins. It's still winnable. Yes, teams are getting better. but they're not the top of the class. The Bucs still have the talent. They can turn some things around and make some things happen. Now, Palmer is not the only guy that thinks that. In fact, another writer for SI, Carl Rasmussen, says the same thing. Just because Evans is going to explore his options in free agency doesn't mean his departure is inevitable. Leaving the organization where he spent his entire career will be a difficult decision, and if he doesn't receive a substantial offer in free agency, he could very well opt to return in Tampa in 2026. The Buccaneers have been to the playoffs in 5 of the last 6 seasons, missing out in 2025 for the first time since 2019. Although the team underperformed last year, the playoffs are very much in reach for Tampa Bay. The team has strong pieces in place with a solid offensive line, one of the game's best quarterbacks in Baker Mayfield, and foundations not every team can offer to a 32-year-old this offseason. Makes lots of sense. Makes me feel better. Now, Jason McIntyre, who was on the Colin Cowherd radio show there for Fox Sports Radio, had this to say, and maybe somebody needs to update his information. Mike Evans, unbelievable career in Tampa. He's going to be motivated to chase the Super Bowl. Hasn't sniffed one in Tampa. Not necessarily that's the case. In fact, 5 years removed, Mike Evans won Super Bowl 55 with Tom Brady in one of the most important Super Bowls, in my opinion, for Tom Brady, because he did it without Bill Belichick. And Jason, how can you forget one of the most important Super Bowls in NFL history as the Bucs became the first team to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium? Come on, man. So what do you think, Bucs fans? Speculation from Mike Evans. Does this make you feel better? Does this make you feel worse? Put it in there in the comments here on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. Now, let's move on to the mock drafts as the Combine is next week. And we're a couple months away from the NFL draft. A lot of speculation, a lot of prospects out there for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this, according to Buccaneers.com, they have linebacker C.J. Allen of Georgia. Legendary Buccaneer Levante David is an impending free agent, and even if he chooses not to retire and returns in 2026, he could help mentor his future successor. C.J. Allen fits the Bucs' character criteria with leadership skills as a green dot linebacker for the Bulldogs and team captain role. Allen possesses the position flexibility that is required in Todd Bowles' complex system, has a quick burst to close on receivers to limit yak yards from zone. Blitz prowess from A and B gaps, textbook wrap-up tackling technique, and trusted his instincts to play fast. After diagnosing, he fills gaps with proper leverage, and his football intelligence was evident in Kirby Smart's system. So what do you think, Bucs fans? C.J. Allen at number 15. That's what Buccaneers.com says. Now, the Draft Network has a totally different take. They think it's going to be Keldrick Falk of Auburn. They say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers did not rush the passer effectively throughout 2025. They're also preparing for some departures across the defensive line. Todd Bowles will appreciate Keldrick Falk for his athleticism and inside-outside versatility as a rusher. Lance Zierlein has this to say. Falk of NFL.com, NFL analyst. Falk has a long developing frame, good movement skills, and the potential for odd or even fronts once he gains more muscle mass. He's a culture player. This sounds like a Jason Light type of player. Turns 21 in September. Also has the potential, once again, to align in any spot in odd or even fronts depending on the down. Praise for leadership, accountability, and character. Able to open up edges with efficient, sudden hands. Does a nice job of stalking and hounding scrambling quarterbacks. On the weaknesses, upfield burst is average when rushing off the edge. Would benefit from more violent hands to dislodge the punch. And tends to play tall as a run defender and on inside rush counters. Now, Mel Kiper Jr., the legend himself, has him going to the Miami Dolphins at number 11. He says the 6'6 Falk, 285-pound frame, calling him looks the part with elite power versatility to play inside or out, strong hand usage. He also ranks him as a premier defensive end prospect for 2026 class, with projections placing him in the mid-first round. And once again, his strengths are described as having super powerful hands, high-level instincts, and the ability to win with both speed to power and inside and outside moves. also finishing with 45 pressures, 11 tackles for loss in 2024. So there you go. Falk, Allen, put in the box. Who do you prefer the Bucs to take in 2026 draft here at number 15? So let's get into it, as it is a Fan Appreciation Friday. So let's read the comments. I'm going to try to read as many comments as possible here because I appreciate you, because as I said, the fans on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network are the lifeblood. And we'll try to do this every Friday. If you comment, I will try to read as many comments as possible. Stash Tampa Bay says, great stuff, Peter. Good to see you on a new channel, LFG Bucks. Sean G, or Sean G, 9450. Sweet, another Bucks channel. Yes, absolutely. Subscribe. Joyce and David Huber say, in terms of Dean, yes, he's injured. His actual coverage grades are actually pretty good. When he is on the field, he's actually good. Sean G again, I think it all depends on what they do in the offseason. If they get Crosby or Garrett, which they're not going to get Myles Garrett, wishful thinking there, Sean, but I like the thought process. I think everyone comes back. David Evans, hell, maybe even Hall on a lower number. He might take the William Golston route. Tampa's a fun place to be when you're making $4 to $5 million a year. Florida Marine says, like Crosby, but screw that noise. Sign Hendrickson, the Orlando native, and keep the draft capital. Max is not coming to Tampa. Why would he? Horrible fan base, home game experience. Bucks are not Super Bowl contenders, even with Max. Ouch. Becky Homler says, does Levante realize that our defense was why we lost those games? Thank you for your service, Levante, but please keep taking your daughter to school. Please pass on Max Crosby. He is old. He has dealt with a lot of injuries. He has had 8 surgeries in 7 years. Realistically, how much time will the man actually spend on the field at his age with his injury history? We will have to give up way too much for a guy who will spend more time on the bench than he won't. He's also disgruntled. We don't need that in our locker room. Huge no for me. Dean can go. Him sitting on the bench collecting a paycheck is a good example of why we don't need Max Crosby. Another big no for Njoku. He is old, 30, 31, has dealt with a ton of injuries. He has been on the bench more than he hasn't the last few years, and he has never had a 1,000-yard season. No, just no, but hell no. Becky Homler, appreciate the comments and the passion. Stash TB, do you realize that LVD had 0 help at linebacker the last 2 seasons? His skill set has never been high at pass pro. He tied for tackles for a reason. He's never been a good cover linebacker. Give him a good cover linebacker to play with and edge rushers, and he will be a Pro Bowl caliber guy again. This team needs that. Bucks ball 84. I don't care what anyone says. Dean isn't a top 3 cornerback on anybody's list. Let him go. There's much better out there. Smoke 813. He's too old. Needs to retire. Look at all the games he said we lost. Look at him on defense. Do you really want to bring him back? Ryan Turner 5411. I'll stick with Cade and Durham, talking about the tight end situation. Franchise 1214. Kyle Pitts. Guy Kolarek, 7958. I believe David, one of the greatest Bucks in our brief history, will be back. I'm not confident it is the best move for the organization. His 2025 Pro Football Focus grade dropped from 67.9 to 52.6, signaling a huge decline in his on-the-field performance. Don't think Light will surrender the draft capital to secure a Crosby, Jamel Dean. He is our best corner. Re-sign him and Njoku. Daniel Derricks, 2110. Levante, not fast enough anymore. Spend time with daughter. Take a year off. You would be a great coach. He's talking about Levante. There you go. Don Pudge, I do not want to see Levante come back as a starter, maybe as a backup. Steven Stansfield, get Crosby. Front 7 will be dangerous again. Let Dean test free agency. We got Zion, Morrison, Parrish. We can have draft another corner. David Njoku and Pewter, Otten replacement. Florida Marine, let Crosby go. Keep the draft pick. Sign Hendrickson instead. John Novias, awesome. I don't want Crosby in Philly. Must be an Eagle fan, I guess. Mr. Boyd, 504, send Dean on his way, please. T Green, 9825, 100% in favor of LVD coming back for one last ride. Samantha Perez, 7233. I hope Bucks get Crosby. He is the missing piece. Paul Charles, 1638. Crosby is not going to Tampa. He's staying in Las Vegas. He said he is staying. 321 Thatch. Bucks got too many big holes on defense. Cornerback Dean is inconsistent. The other cornerbacks stink. Linebacker Levante David is too old. They need 2 linebackers, need a pass rusher, and a 3 technique DT. They also need a new head coach. Ouch. Marco Jordan. I want Chris Braswell to stay with the Buccaneers, my favorite player on here. Thank you, Marco. Sean Wallace, 1877. They freaking get a free agent cornerback. They can start going. It's going to cost a little bit. We can get Sheldon Rankins, Devin Lloyd, and the boy from Philadelphia. Go crazy, Bradley Chubb. We don't have to forsake draft picks. Just got to figure out the money structure. Go to work, Greenberg. Jeremy Steed, 35-27. Wouldn't that be poetic? We get Brady, won a Super Bowl, and in reverse, they still MK13 and return and win the big game this year. Let's see. Sean Wallace, Mike ain't going to Texas. The Blind Fury, because I'm not going to say the other name on there. Another team scares me. What scares me is Tampa Bay Buccaneers team without Mike Evans. Rod Smith, 64-44. James Pierce Jr. Now pass. Thank you, Jason Light. The blind guy, the Blind's Fury. I'd rather have Isaiah Likely for the tight ends. Sean Wallace, 1877. 3 monster moves in free agency. We'll be all right. Rod Smith, 64-44. Let Mike go. Get his money. Buccaneers have to improve the defense. Sean Wallace, 1877. Braswell was held on to because we didn't have anybody to back up anybody. Sean Wallace again. Levante David needs to be retained as a defensive linebackers coach assistant if he doesn't come back as an active player. Marco Jordan lets Dean go to the LA Rams. Stash, nah, he was good at covering when he was young, talking about David. Brody says he's going to resign. They're just creating space per usual. It also gives us time to do what we need to before we sign my guy back, saying Evans. Denver Hargis, Mike should go. The Bucs will stink the next couple years. He should go somewhere he can win another Super Bowl. Samantha Perez, we need to re-sign Mike Evans. Finding Durham, definitely not down with the tight end for the 15th pick. Howell, Styles, Woods, or McDonald. There's decent tight end talent in free agency in later rounds. If Evans leaves, that changes things a bit, but doesn't heal the existing gaps in the front 7 defense. The Blinds Fury here, no way going to the Buffalo Bills. No way. That boy is from Texas. He's been living in Florida, and the Bills need more than him to get to the Super Bowl and win it. Guy Choleric. Would hate to see Evans in another uniform. Just wouldn't be right. Big, huge no to Mack and the Detroit linebacker. I'm all over Styles at 15 if he's available. Big damn if. If Styles not available, hope the Bucs go with Miami edge rusher Mesidor. Anthony Nelson. Marco Jordan, and we need to resign Mike Evans. Tim says Mike only at Tim Haynes there. Mike only at the right price. Marco Jordan, not Michael Jordan. Marco. 15, Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State. The blind guy's Fury, but going to Houston Texans, that is intriguing. That is tangible. Lord have mercy with the defense they got. They already got another one wide receiver, OMG. Thomas Hodges, 1941. We owe Evans everything. He breaks a bone last year, and the fans pretend he regressed. I live in Tampa, but didn't realize the crack they smoke is that strong. Ouch. Samantha Perez, 72-33. I hope Sonny Styles falls to the Bucs. Marco Jordan, 15, Sonny Styles. The blind guy's Fury. By the way, he's from the part of Texas. Oh, my God, he's from Houston area. Galveston, I believe. The third coast, that might be the only team he will consider. Think about the family. Think about the roots. Think about how he really doesn't have to relocate too much. Hey, oh, my God, show me some love. Good comment there. If you think I made a point of pull back the curtains, you did. A lowercase 2664 Evans moving on from the Bucs would be like Stamkos going to Nashville. Hurts the fan base, but may be the best decision for the franchise. Good comment there. Tyler Rudd, 1627. Akeem Mesidor at 15. Marco Jordan, Bucs latest. Yeah, 15. Sonny Styles, linebacker. Becky Homler. And I think this will be the last couple of comments here. I question you blaming so much on a lack of offense in the second half of the season on Bucky's injuries a little bit. While I do think it definitely was a main contributor to the problem, I still think Rizard had more to do with it than he gets blamed for. Well, he got fired, Becky. Our running back coach wasn't fired. He has been with the team since 2023, but Rizard was fired after 1 year. That tells me somebody's making decisions, sees it that way. I do that. Grizzard was more responsible than Bucky's injuries. The only reason I'm even pointing that out is not to be a jerk, but because I don't think Grizzard got enough criticism. I think Baker, Bucky injuries, and Emeka got a lot of blame that was not warranted, while Grizzard got off way too easy. I just wanted to point that out. I'm enjoying your channel so far, and I'm going to subscribe. Thanks for what you do. Thank you, Becky. Awesome. Well thought out comments. All right, last one's here. You keep saying wildly inconsistent, says James, regarding Jamel Dean. No, sorry, just injury prone, period. He is a great corner that can't stay healthy, just like Carlton Davis, but just watch. Wherever he goes, he will not miss a game. Bucs are cursed. Also, Sean Wallace, 1877. He's coming back to Tampa. He's just pressuring the defense because it stinks. He didn't say stink. And then Becky again. Would Mike really want to go to Buffalo and freeze his behind off? What has Josh Allen really proven? Mike has no more guaranteed of a ring in Buffalo than he does in Tampa, according to the way Josh Allen played in the last game of the season. And Baker isn't a crybaby. So is he really that much of an upgrade over Baker? We have a good young talent in our receiving core too. If Jason can focus on the positions of need, we could surprise everyone. Mike has played every game of his career in the Bucs uniform, and he was Light's very first draft pick. They both have reasons for keeping Mike in Tampa. I believe nostalgia wins out and he stays. But then there is what happened with LeBron. No to Khalil Mack. He is 35 years old. We don't need a running back. We can't tackle, pressure, cover anyone. And that needs to be our focus. If we let Otten go play for Cohen, I guarantee you he will hurt us when we play them because that's how it works. I wish Levante would move on. We need young blood. Great stuff, guys. Appreciate all the comments. We'll continue to do this on a Friday fan appreciation show here on Bucs Latest. We'll wrap it up right there. Again, thanks a lot for everything that you guys do. I'm your host, Peter Blake, your Rolex reporter. What time is it? It's my time. And for Go Bucs fans, Bucs Nation, it's your time. We'll see you next time on Bucs Latest on the Fan Arch Network. And as we always say on this show to end it off, Go Bucs.